fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
When you look at Marcus Johnson, when you look at Nikola Jokic, these aren't guys that are big, super athletic, dunking and jumping over people. These are just guys that are clean, skilled footwork, and do things below the rim that make the everyday guy look like it'd be like, I can do that. But you can't, and neither can I.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome in. It is Game Time Decisions right here on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh with you for the next hour as we get set for a Monday night doubleheader in the National Football League. The Raiders and the Falcons, NFC North showdown with the Bears and the Vikings. We will get to that in full. But if I may, and since I am kind of leading the deal here, can I just sprinkle in a little NBA very quickly? Because I am slowly losing my mind, so this will give me a little bit of clarity as we make our picks and breakdowns for the game. All of a sudden, the first time people want to talk basketball this year is to talk about the ratings, the low numbers, the why, whose fault, and how do we fix this? And my goodness, this is madness to listen to. Why are these big picture conversations so hard for so many? I watched last year people spend 2 weeks trying to figure out who the future face of the NBA was. Tatum and LeBron again. And it was clearly Victor Wembanyama. So allow me to help you once again. Firstly, it's not a ratings crisis. They just got a new TV deal. Ultimately, they are fine. But when you are trying to figure out the problem, why are the ratings down, it is not because there are too many threes. This is preposterous. I heard someone in the same breath, who I respect, make the point that the threes were far too many, while also pointing out the NBA doesn't have a star under 30 as popular as Caitlin Clark. Ah, yes, because the East Bay 360s Caitlin Clark is doing? Bombing threes. It's how Steph became amazing. Remember this summer in the Olympics when Steph was making threes from Mars and it was the coolest thing we've seen in literal basketball history? Why must we miss the mark? I have people saying that dunks need to be worth threes to now we can fix the entertainment value. What are you doing? Stop talking. You are going to mess this up. What the NBA needs is some narratives that you can actually sink your teeth into. Because a lot of people at the surface of this league, the coverage, are grasping at straws because they can't debate LeBron and Michael again, unfortunately. And since LeBron's not going to request a trade to the Golden State Warriors, they're uncertain. People aren't ready to have conversations about greatness level because, again, it's not being spoon-fed to them. People can't have interesting breakdowns around this current Boston Celtics or what Nikola Jokic is doing in Denver because it doesn't meet the eye frame. They can't talk about the ascending Golden State Warriors youngsters or what's going on in Oklahoma City. It doesn't meet the eye frame. So, you know what the NBA needs? The one fix they need to make? The ridiculous, atrocious NBA cap rules that have limited trades. We could use a super team or two, quite frankly. And there's one guy who could save us right now. Get Jimmy Butler to Phoenix. I don't really know what needs to be done, but somebody has to figure this out. Get Jimmy to Phoenix and tell Jimmy Butler, pull no strings. Say it like you feel, because we know how Jimmy feels. Show up in Phoenix, say me, Durant, and D-Book are going to run roughshod on this league. We're going to walk through the West, and I cannot wait to see who comes out of the East, because Boston knows it's sweet, Milwaukee knows what time it is, the Knicks, you got to be kidding me. That is about the only way anybody is going to talk basketball before February. Not because there are too many threes being taken by Derek White on a nightly basis. My goodness. It's nice to have you, though. Now let's talk football, because that's what we do when it's December. Vikings, Bears. Minnesota laying a touchdown. A Vikings team that, after the Detroit Lions lost to the Buffalo Bills, controls their own destiny for the number 1 seed in the NFC. If the Vikings win out, it is theirs. They would jump Detroit and Philadelphia with tiebreakers and things of the nature. It makes this game not just important from the total, but Minnesota cashing this minus 320 is paramount. And they might. I mean, they probably will. What I've seen from this Vikings team, who I took an updated win total on, have seen them play bad football in a lot of these games, find a way to cash the money line and not the spread. They did rip apart Atlanta in their most recent game. I think that's inflated this number. I did play the Bears catching the full touchdown here in this divisional battle. You're getting a little bit of a buy low spot with the way the Niners walked this team last week in the Bay. Game number 2 of our doubleheader is Atlanta playing in Vegas against the Raiders. 5.5, some 6s appearing in the market as well. And we get one of the more random bench spots I've seen, with Desmond Ridder now getting the call for the Vegas Raiders. Gardner Minshew, of course, done for the season. Aiden O'Connell injured in the most recent game played for Vegas, and now they'll be forced to turn to Desmond Ridder. Though, truly, are you really sure that Ridder won't be the best quarterback that's played for Vegas this year? I mean, at minimum, can he be as good as O'Connell and Gardner Minshew? I think absolutely so. One of the reasons for a lot of movement on this number is the fact that Desmond Ridder it's not about Desmond Ridder, it's about Max Crosby. No Crosby tonight for Vegas as their season is over. So is his season-ending surgery as he looks to get ready for next season. I think Ridder, though, can take advantage of one of the worst defenses in football. 19.5 for a Raiders team total. Only twice this year has Atlanta kept a team under that number. Both times was in their building. On the road, they've yet to do it. I like the Raiders to score 20-plus in this game. Let's go big picture for a minute. The NFC race, we talk about what's on the line for Minnesota. And you'll notice that the Vikings are now getting just a touch of separation from the Green Bay Packers. Now, Green Bay still handled their business last night, but the fact that Minnesota could end up your number 1 overall seed, not something really in the realm of possibility for the Green Bay Packers. That's where you start to see some respect. Detroit coming back a little. Detroit should be coming back a lot more. Look, the Lions can be favored for the 1 seed all they want, but Detroit is going to end up 1 or 5. Philly is going to end up 1 or 2. So realistically, this gap shouldn't be here with the Lions' defensive injuries mounting the way that they are. If the Lions fall back to 5, they're going to make a road trip out to potentially L.A., play the Rams, and what's that line going to be? Under a field goal, honestly, at this rate. Just keep that in mind. You'll notice the Falcons all the way down here and the Tampa Bay Bucks all the way up there. Tampa's been playing good football. Yesterday, they played great football as they absolutely rolled the LA Chargers. Sitting in front of Tampa now, a trip to Dallas to play the Cowboys, and at home against Carolina and New Orleans, the Bucs control their own destiny in a major way. The Falcons' only path to the playoffs is through winning their division. Quarterback spotlight tonight, Caleb Williams against Sam Darnold in our opening game of the doubleheader. Sam Darnold throwing 2 touchdown passes certainly is viable. The Bears have been giving up passing touchdowns, and Darnold is top 5 this season in terms of passing touchdowns, but little expensive for me. What is not expensive is Caleb Williams' passing yards. 223.5 is far too light. To mention Minnesota's former quarterback, Kirk Cousins, 4 straight games we have seen Kirk Cousins fail to throw a passing touchdown. That streak should be snapped tonight against a Vegas defense who is consistently this year giving up 2+ passing touchdowns to opposing quarterbacks. We'll talk more football with you, not just tonight, what we saw yesterday as well, next.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
It's a new era in CFP to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
Live with you right here. It is Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid. Let's make sure that all of the picks are on the table for us here with this Monday night. We'll re-rack, of course. But for me, with your Monday night doubleheader, I'm focused primarily on the Bears catching the 7 here tonight. That I played at -110. Let's see, because I know some 6.5s were appearing potentially in the market, but it looks like 7's your number everywhere. You always want to grab the best of the juice, which looks to be -115. Your total in this game, 43.5, anywhere that you look. And I don't have a great feel for this total. I will say it looks a little light considering some of the recent Minnesota games that we've seen. But I I am trusting the 7 either game script that we get from the Bears. I think the number a tick inflated here where Minnesota rolled Atlanta. Right, Atlanta was one of those sharp sides of the week that we were hearing a lot about. The Bears got rolled by the Niners, and the Bears were supposed to be kind of maybe a sharp side for some in that spot there. But as somebody, and maybe the clarity of loving San Fran last week's helping me get to the Bears number here, I think that this team can hang tonight in a divisional battle against the Minnesota Vikings, as they did the first time that they played just a few weeks ago. Game number 2, Desmond Ridder gets the call. I think he'll be just fine. I like over 19.5 for a team total on the Vegas side of things. We'll get to props in a minute here. Just NBA-wise, if you are looking to bet the association, give me Donovan Mitchell over 23.5 points and a nice little bounce-back spot going up against the Brooklyn Nets. And then James Harden over 14.5 rebounds plus assists. That's a nice number at a plus price there. The Clippers have been on the wrong side of 2 straight blowouts. It's limiting Harden's minutes a little bit. I think we get a great number here going up against a very bad Utah Jazz team. But if we may zoom out quickly before tonight's game, the big picture of the NFL, the only team really involved in those conversations is the Minnesota Vikings, but the Vikings are very, very important and heavily involved. The Vikings' 11-2 record and 6 consecutive wins has them knocking on the door of the number 1 seed. And for Minnesota, I think even if they did grab the 1 seed, they would not be favorites to win the conference and certainly not the Super Bowl, but Minnesota would be getting a lot more respect. I think maybe more interesting than Vikings respect would be what happens to the Lions and their pricing. For Detroit, their regular season finale is against Minnesota. So if the Lions go 1 seed all season, lose the last game of the regular season, and end up the 5, that is going to cause a major shift in the market. But we already have a major shift in the market because we have, after yesterday's results, a new Super Bowl favorite, and that is the Buffalo Bills. And this is kind of where Buffalo always loses me, if I'm honest. The Bills have been, for me, a real surprise this year. I cannot give overall this group enough credit. I think that Josh Allen's status as MVP favorite is incredibly deserving. I think Buffalo, a week after losing, beating the Detroit Lions, isn't enough to become Super Bowl favorites. The Buffalo Bills are 11-3. It's a great record. They are still 2 games back of the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I feel as if the Mahomes questions are likely impacting the number here some, but there is nobody that thinks the Kansas City Chiefs will be without Mahomes when the playoffs come around. And again, the Chiefs, if Buffalo wins their last 3 games, which, yes, they are heavy favorites to do, though no, that is not an easy thing, but the Chiefs will need to go 2-1 in their final games. Considering they are 13-1, not the toughest ask to do. At the opponents in Houston, at Pittsburgh, at Denver, it is certainly more difficult than what Buffalo has in front of them. But still, you need, in order for the Bills to jump them, the Chiefs to lose multiple games. If Buffalo trips up, you need KC to lose out. KC's not losing out. I mean, that's just not going to happen. So, running Buffalo to the front of the line, why? How? Like, this is where head-to-head gets very interesting. Oh, well, the Buffalo Bills, they beat the Chiefs. They beat the Lions. Okay. They've also lost to the Rams. They've lost to the Texans. They've lost to the Ravens. Like, it is not as if Buffalo is like Detroit. That was Detroit's first loss yesterday since week 2. Buffalo's last loss was last week. Josh Allen has played, essentially 2 perfect weeks of football. That is fantastic. Again, Josh has been great. Buffalo has now allowed 40 points in consecutive games. That's not concerning? I mean, at least concerning enough not to rip Buffalo as now the Super Bowl favorite? That doesn't feel like we're doing that thing again where we anoint Buffalo before they actually do the thing? I mean, I'm not saying that we can't give Buffalo a ton of respect. $2 in front of the Chiefs. You've heard what I've said about Kansas City throughout the year. $2 in front of the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl? What? Especially when that game is still projected, an AFC Championship game, to be in Kansas City? You expect Buffalo to lay in Arrowhead? No, you don't. And that's before we get to the actual best team in the NFL. My preseason Super Bowl pick, and what is clearly the most well-balanced team in this league. While Josh has certainly been unreal, Jalen Hurts yesterday was brilliant. Because he can be. Hurts is now having arguably the best season of his career. They just run the ball all the time because they're the best rush offense in football. But Pittsburgh comes into town, cool, light them up for 4 quarters. It's exactly what Jalen Hurts did. But unlike Detroit, whose defense is now a disaster, or Buffalo, whose defense I have question marks about, the Eagles have the best defense in the league. Nobody would be nuts enough to try and even argue the point. And the Eagles still can't even jump the Detroit Lions following yesterday's results. I guess just not popular enough. That's all right. We'll get some pick 'em next.
Guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
When you look at Marcus Johnson, when you look at Nikola Jokic, these aren't guys that are big, super athletic, dunking and jumping over people. These are just guys that are clean, skilled footwork, and do things below the rim that make the everyday guy look like it'd be like, I can do that. But you can't, and neither can I.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
We're live right here on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh with you on this Monday night. And we have ourselves a Monday night doubleheader, which means we have plenty of options with the Sports Millions Pick'em. And I believe you can go 11x here if you get 4 picks on the board, 1 from each team, which certainly works for me. And I'm interested in at least one guy on all of our teams playing tonight. We'll start this off with the Minnesota Vikings, who tonight will be running it up against the Chicago Bears, who they saw, again, not too long ago, at the very end of November. And in that game, we saw Aaron Jones play some very good football. Had 106 total rushing yards, had a long run of 41. And that's been a consistent theme a little bit now for the Bears defense, giving up explosive runs, which is now leading to big rushing totals. And that's where I think we look on the Minnesota side tonight. Aaron Jones higher than 65.5 rushing yards. The issue a little bit for Jones this year has been consistency on a number like this, but I think a little bit of extra rest heading into the Monday night game, and the opponent, knowing that Jones has been a thorn in the side for Chicago, not just since arriving to Minnesota, but of course all his time with the Green Bay Packers, and I think you'll see a lot of good tonight from Aaron Jones, higher than 65.5 rushing yards. On the Bears side of it, I look towards their quarterback, rookie Caleb Williams, who is having some struggles still throughout the season. Last week did put together a good second half, even if it was still some garbage time, against the 49ers. Finished that one 17 of 23 for 134 yards. First time in some time, though, that we have seen Caleb struggle in terms of his total passing. While the results have not been there for Chicago on this very long losing streak, following the game against New England, this team had been very competitive against the best teams in this division. A 1-point loss to Green Bay, a 3-point loss to these Minnesota Vikings, and a 3-point loss to the Detroit Lions. And in those games, Caleb Williams threw for at least 230 yards in all of them, including 340 yards against Minnesota, a Vikings team that has given up a ton of yards through the air throughout this season for a myriad of reasons. Sometimes that's because they're up big and it's garbage time yardage. At times it's because such a ball-hawking group maybe leaves themselves vulnerable to a few explosives, which certainly could be the case for Caleb tonight. Any way we get it is good for me. We'll go higher than 222.5 passing yards on the Bears' young quarterback. How about Atlanta's young quarterback here? Certainly not young. That would be Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, for a very long time in this league, I think we knew the number said he was a top 10. He wasn't that. But the big game performances was like, oh, you can't have this guy. And we knew he was a little bit better than that. Well, now Kirk Cousins' numbers aren't even justifying his status, and it's become a big concern for Atlanta. What is this team going to do moving forward? Well, it is paramount that Kirk Cousins steps up, yes, on a Monday night, and lights up a bad and vulnerable Vegas secondary, who has allowed multiple passing touchdowns to nearly every opposing quarterback they've seen this season. Just last week, we saw Baker Mayfield torch them for multiple touchdown passes in that game. Kirk Cousins, though, has not thrown a touchdown pass in 4 straight games. His last touchdown pass came on the 3rd of November. It is December 16th, pal. The Michael Penix chatter is understandable. It may stop a little bit tonight, though, when Kirk Cousins is higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns. Lastly, certainly not the expectation, but you got to go with the hot hand, and that's what Vegas is doing. Sincere McCormick, a youngster out of UTSA, meet the Roadrunners. How about we go higher than 57.5 rushing yards? Last 2 weeks, 12 for 64 against a stout KC run defense and 15 for 78 against a stout Tampa Bay defense, always led by Vita Vea on the ground. We'll go Sincere McCormick higher than 53.5 rushing yards. Those are your Sports Millions pick'ems. Joe Lisi will join us next.
much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
When you look at Marcus Johnson, when you look at Nikola Jokic, these aren't guys that are big, super athletic, dunking and jumping over people. These are just guys that are clean, skilled footwork, and do things below the rim that make the everyday guy look like it'd be like, I can do that. But you can't, and neither can I.
Betting above the rim, only on
Welcome in. It is Game Time Decisions. Kevin Walsh, but alone no longer. Stepping into the arena. Could be a bit of a battle here to get things underway. It's the one and only Joe Lisi. Great to have you.
Always a pleasure, Kev. Always a pleasure. Week 15 culminates tonight. 2 Monday night games. We got a little college football on the horizon.
We do.
Some college football talk, maybe percolating.
It
on
seems
set.
to be bubbling.
Bubbling
a little bit.
On X today. I saw that.
I don't call it X. I don't call it
All
X.
right, Twitter.
You're hot on this X, huh?
Hot on this X.
You're trying to schmooze up to the big guy, eh?
That's yeah. Look at me. Look
Pump
at me.
it up, hey. Here on X, I'm Lisi's.
Lisi Joe. There we go.
Let me ask you something, Joe.
Sure.
So this weekend we will get the college football playoff. It begins Friday, where we'll see Notre Dame host Indiana. And then at noon, and we'll actually, people maybe don't know this yet, myself, Joe, and Ben will be live with you for the opening hour of Penn State SMU.
That's great.
And one thing we will not see in that game is Bo Prabula, who's now been with Penn State for the past 2 years, is the backup quarterback to Drew Aller, who has always been used in packages throughout this season. When I saw the news last night that Prabula was coming back, I went, or was going to enter the portal, I went, oh, well, that means Drew Aller's definitely coming back. A player that some people are excited about his pro prospects. Some are questioned about, okay, I don't know. Well, it looks like Aller, whether it's because he wants to be at Penn State for as long as he can, or if he thinks he himself has stuff to work on, he is coming back. And I think Bo Prabula, who is probably happy to sit by and wait for his turn, doesn't want to wait any longer. You, hearing this news, have taken issue specifically with Bo Prabula's decision at this moment.
From the team aspect, I think the timing is absolutely atrocious. The backup quarterback heading into Saturday's game is no longer available.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, Drew Aller got hurt middle part of the season against Wisconsin, and Prabula comes in, completes 11 of 14 passes, 91 yards and a touchdown, saves that game potentially to put them, or at least keep them on track for a Big Ten championship. I mean, come on, they have no experience back after him. If Aller gets hurt, in the first half of SMU, who do they turn to? And then that's really putting the team out to dry. I have no problem with him transferring or wanting to transfer.
Sure.
But he could do it up until December 28th. You could make the announcement after this game or beyond, and you choose to do it right before this game on Saturday. I think it's poor.
So I understand the notion of he could have let this game play out, but I think the unfortunate reality is, Lisa, he was going to I think Bo, he was excited to be Penn State's quarterback next year.
Right.
Clearly, Drew gave him the, look, I'm coming back. And Bo went, oh, no, I didn't. Really? Well, I can't keep waiting. Because, look, some guys, I know, Lisa, say, hey, wait as long as possible. But it's very different now in college football because of the money. And if you find yourself in a good enough program, guys are interested in staying longer. Quinn Ewers last year could have left. Quinn might be back again next year, right? But you know what we're seeing? Quinn Ewers is not quarterbacking Texas. We know that next year. There were moments where we just said, is Arch going to sit around and let Quinn take his job? Well, why did Arch stay? Arch knew next year, year 3, I'm getting the job. Right. I think Bo Prabula was under the impression, year 3, I'm getting the job. But Penn State, James Franklin, looking out for themselves, I don't care what we told that kid. Aller's back. This is great. So Bo Prabula has the only option is to give himself a chance, Lisi, at being a starting quarterback at the college level.
No, I understand the reasoning, Kev, but the team aspect, when does that take precedent? When?
Well, Lisi, but is anybody looking out for Bo? Like yes. He doesn't matter at all in this equation?
So wait a second. Who's to say Drew Aller's coming back? If Bo Prabula believes he's the best option, why can't he battle it out with Aller in camp? They haven't said that Drew Aller's the starter next year. They just said he's coming back. If Drew Aller doesn't, let's say he throws 3 picks against SMU and they're out, I would think that there'd be an open quarterback competition.
I don't imagine Drew Aller would forego the NFL draft for a quarterback competition. I mean, that's just not realistic. Listen, I know how you are.
I think he needs to hone his skills, Drew Aller. And we know in any big game, he's failed to step up.
I think Drew Aller, coming back is one of those things where it's like, he's not that good.
Right.
And there are some people like, we're missing out on the draft this kid. I get that. But what I'm saying, I know that if you were in charge, you would give 0 quarterbacks the job. You'd make everybody battle it.
Of course.
Okay, that's not how this works.
I understand.
Drew Aller is not coming back unless he knows he's got the job.
You're telling me a week or 2, 10 days. We're at the 16th now.
So
12 days really matters.
I mean, look, Michael Van Buren, Mississippi State's young quarterback this year, goes to LSU.
Right, he's backing up Nussmeier.
I'll be honest. I saw that decision. I went, wow, he's not going to start this year, right? But Van Buren, you know what? I got a little bit of time. Prabula has spent 2 years at Penn State and has backed up Aller for 2 years now.
Right.
You only have so much time, but I also think the fact that Van Buren had to settle for a backup role, maybe not a lot of high-level starting jobs out there, Lisi.
You're right, but Van Buren, the reason why he left Miss State is because Shapen came back. Shapen decided to come back at Miss State. He won the job from Shapen that came out and got hurt, so that's why. I mean, he fits LSU's mold, meaning a lot better than Nussmeier, I believe, because he's more similar to Jaden Daniels and that skill set, right? But guys are making business decisions. I have no problem with that for Miss State, LSU, that were completely out of the college football playoff. That would be like the backup quarterback for the Eagles right now, Kenny Pickett, walking away.
Well,
would you be happy about that?
To be honest, I get the point you're trying to make, but the reality is if there's a single second this year where I'm needing Pickett to win me the game,
then you're dead to rights.
Like you won't be able to peel me up off the floor.
You're dead to rights if that happens. 7 picks,
But here's the problem, Lisi, is in the NFL, free agency begins when the season's over.
No, I know.
In college, it begins when the regular season's over. That's nuts.
It's crazy. They have to change it. They can't go through this now. He could always wait till April. It reopens in April.
But he's trying to get a starting job.
I understand that. But does he really? But is Prabula, does he think he's starting at Georgia? I mean, does he think he's starting at
do you think he could compete for the UNC job?
Yeah, he can. But you don't think Bill will wait around for him for 12 days? I mean, until after this game?
So that's, again, the nature of college football. That is where it's so unique.
I know, but it's a killer, though, Kev.
Because Joe, I'm sorry, but we're looking at these situations where, these coaches, they don't wait around. Oh, let me coach the ball game. I've been with these kids all year.
I know, but this is it's the playoffs. It's the first year of an expansion. Yeah. Penn State hasn't made the playoffs in the history since 2014, since it started. Yeah. This is the biggest game potentially, or the biggest run James Franklin has ever had. And the backup quarterback that was instrumental in one of the critical victories walks out the door.
But he's not even just a backup quarterback.
He's potentially...
He plays.
Yes.
Because of the packages and his athleticism.
Exactly.
So,
what does that do to the mindset of the team? If Aller's, let's say, banged up, team's going to be like, we're screwed.
I understand that, but I also think, and listen, I know that this is not something that you'll be happy about, but then if anything, it's on Penn State to be like, listen, we'll get the money right. We'll get the money right, and you will be the guy the year after.
Yeah, well, I agree.
But I
here's an extra $1 million if we get you to stay.
Here's where it's so unique, and I know that this sometimes it doesn't always, but I think in Bo Prabula's mind, he has the potential to make a career playing football, right? Well, he only has so much time to prove that, and he has spent now 2 of those years backing up Aller.
Right.
Aller, Lisi, when Aller showed up on Penn State's campus, he was supposed to be a godsend.
He was supposed to be the best quarterback they have ever recruited in the history of Penn State.
Like, this kid wasn't supposed to need another year.
In every single game he's played.
That's why him coming back
a big one.
Is stunning. Not stunning now. It is stunning probably when Bo decided to come back this year.
This is a huge blow moving forward for them. It is. It is.
But that is why
they
need to clean this stuff up, no doubt. We'll talk to Monday Night Doubleheader next. I'm actually not even on a side today.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that. Why are you on Texas?
I gave them a chance. Maybe not me as the overwhelming authority in college football, but entering that game on this set to you guys, I said there was one elite defense entering the matchup in Austin back to end out October. It's not the Bulldogs like it used to be. It is Texas.
College football today, only on SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred, or just worked on the side, or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
The NFL and college, they don't operate on the same timelines, right? UNLV's head coach just got, the Purdue job this morning, where I imagine, right, UNC probably needs to know from Bill.
And let's say it's late December, and we see 7, 8 teams open, and none of them want Bill, then Bill's got to make a decision. Does he want to be a college head coach?
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
DC Joe.
Back right here on SportsGrid, Game Time Decisions.
Well, what happened?
I'll tell you in a second. So, I made some points about Buffalo a little earlier on in our show, relative to their status as Super Bowl favorites.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's a little too much, and that's where Buffalo loses me. But I'm going to defend Josh Allen a little, because I think I am going to lose my mind on something different.
Go ahead.
Yesterday, Lisi, Lamar Jackson went out there, threw 5 touchdowns, 290 yards, 65 on the ground, a 154.6 passer rating. If they try and give this guy another MVP, I think I may be done talking the award.
I agree. This year, at least.
Who cares that he lit up the Giants? Who cares? Why does that matter? Why is it that now, like I watched last year Lamar win an award because his team won one game primarily led by their defense. He was not even close to the best quarterback in football. The Ravens have 5 losses, and we are now going to sit here and throw him in the MVP conversation again? Like, it's fine. Like, Josh is going to win it. It's fine. Why do we have to? Why are we doing this again?
I don't know.
Why?
I don't know, especially this year, because I agree with you. That team, they laid 16.5 against the New York Giants, a defense that hasn't stepped up basically all season long, and he puts up 290 yards, 250, whatever he put up yesterday. The 156 quarterback rating. And Josh Allen has 2 of the biggest wins in terms of on the resume against Pat Mahomes in Kansas City, where he rushes for 56 yards, takes the game over, scores the touchdown. And he completely dominates again yesterday through the air and on the ground against Detroit, a team that had won 11 straight, the hottest in the NFL. He beats them on the road, and now we're gonna pump up Lamar Jackson because they covered against the gutless Giants. It's ridiculous. And I hear people with Burrow, and I get Burrow. I love Joe Burrow, but not against Josh Allen this year. Sorry. He has completely elevated this team to potentially a number 1 seed in the AFC, depending upon how it plays out. And now we want to take away all of his accolades because Lamar Jackson had a great week.
But it's like that's the thing is like, I don't know. Maybe I need to, and maybe this, someone warned me once a long time ago that this would happen, and maybe I need to stop like betting these awards, worrying about these awards. I have no money on Josh Allen.
Right.
Also, I think contrary to what people think, I have no money on Saquon Barkley. That's not nothing to do with that. How are we now going to change this criteria to a guy who's not even favored to win his division, to win league's MVP?
I don't know.
Like that isn't how the award works.
But how does it now? What I'm curious is it's the books that establish the lines, right? So they suddenly...
It's not just the books, though. But like now there's people online putting side-by-sides up in their stats like, this race isn't over. Right. Yeah, it is. He got 5 losses. Pittsburgh dumped him on his helmet, held under 50% completion. The race is done.
It's done. I know. I agree. I am a total... And I was a backer of Lamar last year because of record. Right, because he didn't have the flashy statistics, but he had the number 1 seed. He was able to engineer. Not this year. Not this year. Sorry. Bye. It's over.
24
They
touchdowns.
want to give Joe Burrow, too. I mean, the guy has 8 losses on the year, and I understand he played well in them, but, I mean, you want to give the MVP to we're going to restructure the MVP award now.
Again, like the Burrow thing, and here's, I know you're going to roll your eyes, it's the Jaden Daniels LSU thing.
It is, though.
No, but it is. But here's the thing.
But
there's not.
He's got 8 losses, though. Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, but I'm being serious.
Right, I know.
In the NFL to college.
Right. So you're saying
the same thing.
3 equals 8.
Yeah,
all right.
Essentially the same thing.
Look at the numbers he put up against Tennessee. That equals the numbers against Georgia State.
No,
yeah, right. That's what you're gonna correlate that to.
I mean, no. The numbers against Dallas is the Georgia State game. 369-3. Like, look, if you want to put Lamar in the offensive player of the year race,
no problem with it.
All good.
Right.
All good. This isn't how the MVP award works. It's not. Let me throw this at you, too. Look, we'll get to the Monday night doubleheader. We have all time in the world. You think Jamar Chase could win offensive player of the year?
I mean, what do you have, 96 yesterday and a touchdown?
Yeah.
I mean, he's putting up dynamic numbers. He really is. And he's motivated, right? He wants his money, so he's going to play out the next 3 or 4 games. So that's it. I mean, the next 3 games, he could go off for 200 yards per game. It's winnable. The defenses he's going up against are atrocious.
Assuming he doesn't get hurt, he's going to win the Triple Crown. Yards, receptions, touchdowns. So that is obviously, that's not an easy thing to do.
I keep thinking of Nash.
Yeah, you know what?
I know. But I'm just saying, it reminds me of
that. No, 100%. My thing is now, like, does Saquon need to run for 2,000? I don't know about the record, but does Saquon need 2,000 to hold off Chase?
I don't think so. I still think right now, even though Chase is in the mix, I still give it to Saquon. This team has won 10 straight games. Won 10 straight.
I think they're the best team in football. So let me just say something quickly. The year the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, every week I tweeted out the Philadelphia Eagles are the best team in the NFL. I have not said that. I have not said that exact thing, okay, this year because I think that it has been. I picked them to win the Super Bowl. The best team doesn't always win the Super Bowl. First time yesterday, to me, they are definitively the best team in the league.
Offense and defensive lines played great yesterday.
The defense. Look, Buffalo. Obviously, it's awesome what's going on. They just gave up 40 points in consecutive weeks.
Defense is leaky. Let's not forget. I mean, they gave up 44 to the L.A. Rams. They gave up a ton of yards to Detroit. They gave up a ton of yards to Pat Mahomes in Kansas City. Just held them, in terms of in margin. But they still put up one of their better performances from an offensive perspective, Kansas City did in that ballgame. So that's going to be a huge cause of concern entering the playoffs no matter what seed they are.
Right.
So, Josh is going to most likely have to outscore anybody they play in terms of a playoff scenario.
Yeah,
if he's off, that defense can't carry them.
And again, the one thing people are then going to try and point to is, Hurts. All right, well, now he has a career high in yards per attempt, passer rating. He's going to end up with a career high in touchdowns, a career low in turnovers.
Jalen Hurts is a winner. He did it in college. He's doing it in the NFL. He's battle-tested. He made it to a Super Bowl. What more can you ask for?
That last bit there, and that's why, that's where more the fan comes out of me than the guy who picked them to win the Super Bowl. There's not that many active quarterbacks that have made the Super Bowl.
Right.
Okay?
And Joe Burrow gets all the hype for making the Super Bowl.
Josh gets a lot of hype for making a Super Bowl that he's never made. I'm sorry, it's true. We'll do the Monday Night Doubleheader next.
I'm actually not even on a side today.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that. Why are you on Texas?
I gave them a chance. Maybe not me as the overwhelming authority in college football, but entering that game on this set to you guys, I said there was one elite defense entering the matchup in Austin back to end out October. It's not the Bulldogs like it used to be. It is Texas.
College football today, only on SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred or just worked on the side or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
The NFL and college, they don't operate on the same timelines, right? UNLV's head coach just got, the Purdue job this morning, where I imagine, right, UNC probably needs to know from Bill.
And let's say it's late December, and we see 7, 8 teams open, and none of them want Bill. Then Bill's got to make a decision. Does he want to be a college head coach?
Pro football today, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Back with you right here on SportsGrid. Should we talk about Air Noland hitting the portal from Ohio State?
I saw that.
I actually have thoughts on it, but I'd rather let me make sure I get your thoughts on the doubleheader tonight. We'll just go game by game here. 7-point number in favor of Minnesota, a Vikings team that, look, you've been successfully able to back a few spots here. What about tonight against Chicago?
Tonight, I don't like the side perspective because, again, they had an emotional game against Kirk Cousins last week, win it by 20 points. Defense stepped up. Offense broke out with 346 and Sam Darnold. I'd be inclined, if I was betting the side, to take Chicago, just because I think the spread is way too high when you just think about it. Last time these teams played, 30-27 overtime game. I'm not betting the side. I am taking the total. Total down from 44.5 to 43.5. I think we blow through this. You look at Sam Darnold. Last time they played, 330 and 2 touchdowns. Caleb came on in terms of the second half. They ran more of a hurry-up offense, got into a rhythm, 340 and multiple touchdowns. Keenan Allen broke out. That's the way I'm playing it today. I understand Thomas Brown and that offense struggled last week against San Francisco, but in this type of game, I think they get back to what they did a couple of weeks ago against Minnesota. I think they throw a caution to the wind. I think we blow right through the 43.5. I'm on Jefferson, tempered down, 70+. Keep an eye. The X factor for me, Aaron Jones. I think he can get up to 60, 70 tonight, but anytime touchdown, he's the favorite and -115. Keep an eye out for him. And I'm on Keenan Allen, big 70-80 tonight.
All right, I took, just for me again, for people, I took the Bears catching the 7 at -110. And, we may do some specials later, but if you, like, my favorite prop probably would be Aaron Jones over that rushing number. We talked about that as well. Falcons are going to lay 5.5 to Desmond Ridder. Look, the Raiders are bad. Crosby is out. Totals 44.5 here. This is one of those games that if it was mixed in on a Sunday at 1, probably not too much. It's a primetime doubleheader here, so what do you like?
I'm going to bet this from an in-game perspective. I'm on Brock Bowers. I altered him down just because it's 60. I'm not sold on Ridder in terms of the passing game going up against his former team, but I think he can get 40. I'm on Jacoby Myers, lead receiver tonight. He's got great hands. If Ridder, they didn't post a number on FanDuel, but if they have a rushing total on Des Ridder tonight against his former team, I'm inclined to take that. The spread is odd, though. 5.5. Mm-hmm. I want to take the points with the Raiders. That sounds crazy. Yeah. And the under, but I think that's the way I would play it, though.
So I grabbed Vegas' team total, 19.5. I don't mind Ridder. I specifically don't mind Ridder if he's playing in a home game indoors. The Atlanta defense is bad. They've allowed all but 2 opponents to score 20+, every road opponent to score 20+. To me, and I'll add in a little bit of a breakdown from you, caution to the wind. Like, this cannot be Desmond Ridder handing the ball off.
No, you wouldn't think so, right? And you have weapons. You have Jacoby Myers. You have even Michael Mayer that's a 15.5 and a red zone opportunity him and Brock Bowers can eat. I don't think they run the football. I can't see Antonio Pierce now going to want to run the football, and you're basically third, fourth string quarterback. I mean, it'd be ridiculous.
I'll say I want to see what he does tonight. I don't feel like so we talked about awards. I don't feel like losing a bet that I think I should win. What I mean by that is, I don't think Brock Bowers should be 13-1 to win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
It's a good number.
It does not need Offensive Rookie of the Year doesn't need to be a quarterback award. We expect it to be. I'm not taking any shots at Jaden Daniels. No. Brock Bowers is the best tight end in football.
Yeah, one of.
As a rookie.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
like totally crazy. So, but I think Brock is going to have to be unreal in order to grab it. I'll take a worse number if I see the conversation shift. You see what I'm saying?
So, like, so tonight, if they win somehow, some way, or he puts up a $125, Trey McBride numbers, or one of these crazy stats, 11 receptions, a $135, and 2 touchdowns.
Yes.
And everybody's raving about Brock Bowers tomorrow, and tomorrow we wake up and he's plus 850. You would jump on that.
I would rather that because the rookie,
now he's involved in the conversation.
The rookie record for receptions, Puka, 105. Brock Bowers has 87.
He'll get that. Unless they completely implode.
Right. So that's my thing is, like, I think he will be deserving.
He would be.
But I'm not going to bet or tell people to bet 13-1 when they've already decided it's Jaden Daniels. I'll bet a 5-1
If he goes off and people are like,
you want to see it. You want to see it tonight, and I think you can get that. You know, I wish. You know, we'll get a number on Ritter before the game, but it's. I'm assuming 197 probably.
I'm interested.
Probably
like
190.
Desmond Ritter.
Why
not? We'll see. It should be a fun one. That's Joe Lisi. I'm Kevin Walsh. We'll be joined by Donnie Rightside when we're live with you in an hour. Your pregame show is next.
The Seahawks, I expected a bounce back after that poor performance against Buffalo.